and welcome to Wake Up Call. I'm Keely McCormick.
And I'm Malik Jackson. Thank you for joining us this morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's kind of a bittersweet day. We're excited for the end of the semester, but sad for our last Wake Up Call show of this semester.
Absolutely. And let's get started with the news. Former President George H.W. Bush, as we know, died Friday at the age of 94 years old. He laid in the rotunda for the last 45 hours in Washington, D.C. Governor Jeff Colyer ordered all state offices to close today, and Wichita State's campus will close in honor of Bush. President W. Bush, the 43rd president of the United States, was able to make it to the rotunda yesterday to pay his respects to his father, as long as Phil Mickelson and Peyton Manning. Along with that, today will be the official ceremony for the former president of the United States, with the processional starting at any minute now, as the TV networks are covering that. It's set to be a huge spectacle with all the former presidents that will be in attendance. We will have dignitaries from all over the world. Former Canadian Prime Minister will be there, so it will be a big event, one that will certainly do the necessary steps to honor the late Bush, who passed away last Friday, again at the age of 94.
That's right. Most people may only know Bush as the 41st president of the father of George W. Bush, but his impact on the nation began before he was in office. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, Bush enlisted in the Navy the following summer. He was first deployed in 1943, making him one of the youngest naval pilots in the U.S. history at the time. After 58 missions, Bush was honorably discharged from service. He graduated from Yale in 1948 and became a successful oil businessman before moving to politics in the early 60s. Bush married his wife, the late Barbara Bush, in 1945. They are survived by 6 children and 14 grandchildren.
President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump visited the Blair House to offer their private condolences to the Bush family Tuesday afternoon. Trump also tweeted explaining that Melania Trump would be giving Laura Bush a tour of the White House Christmas decorations. The President and First Lady visited with the Bush family for 22 minutes, and this was the first interaction between the two families since the inauguration.
And Sully, a 2-year-old lab retriever, was President George H.W. Bush's service dog, who attended the U.S. Capitol in memory of him. The dog came into his life after the death of his wife, Barbara Bush. Sully sat in front of Bush's casket before laying down. I don't know, I mean, I watched that video. I think that's pretty sad, just knowing the connection between a service dog and someone. That's sad.
Again, as those developments come in, as that processional begins and his funeral at the National Cathedral begins, we will keep you updated throughout the show if there is any developments right there. Breaking news that broke last night gave huge insight into the special counsel's investigation, Robert Mueller's court filing that was much redacted. The much redacted filing requested that Michael Flynn, a huge supporter of Donald Trump's campaign, the transition, and his former national security advisor, receive no jail time for his guilty plea to lying to the FBI. The request from the special counsel because Flynn has given them, quote, substantial assistance. In the filing, the huge parts, as I mentioned before, were redacted, but from the filing of the request, it was learned that there is at least 3 separate investigations that Flynn helped the government with, not just the one involving ties between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. So it will be interesting to see how this is coming out, with Flynn corroborating since day 4 of the Trump administration, and now his personal lawyer for decades, Michael Cohen, also helping the special counsel out with information.
Moving on to some more local news, police in Kansas City received a call at 11:30 p.m. regarding a shooting at 7th Street and Osage Avenue. They then received another call shortly after about a shooting at the hospital. According to investigators, the male and female involved in the first shooting drove themselves to the hospital. However, the suspected shooter followed them and shot the male outside the hospital doors Monday night. Then he proceeded to shoot himself. The shooter died and the male was left in critical condition. However, the woman suffers from minor injuries. The hospital continued to operate and admit patients throughout the shooting.
A child is dead and 45 others injured after a bus crashed in Arkansas early Monday morning. The bus was driving a youth football team back to Memphis after playing in a championship game in Dallas over the weekend. The driver says she lost control of the bus, which caused it to swerve off the road and roll over. Weather does not appear to be a factor in the crash. Emergency crews airlifted 2 injured passengers to a nearby hospital. Arkansas Children's Hospital is currently still treating some of the victims from the crash, and of course we're there in our thoughts at this time.
And the Anchorage School District says students will head back to school December 10th regardless if they get the green light. Schools in the district are on cleanup duty following Friday's earthquake, repairing damages to make schools safe for re-entry. Each school will be tagged green, amber, or red for safety levels. The school district's focus remains on safety and reopening as soon as possible. They'll provide alternate locations for students who are waiting on safe classrooms.
Best of luck to them, too. It is bittersweet. A lot of not so good news happening today. Moving along to Les Moonves, the former and disgraced big giant TV mogul at CBS News. According to the New York Times, evidence has come out of Moonves trying to cover up and lie about certain aspects of his sexual misconduct case. Now, according to the New York Times report, the company CBS is going to deny Les Moonves of his $120 million severance package, a package that Moonves expected to see once the independent investigation by CBS had concluded. But no, according to this New York Times report, CBS is ready to release a statement saying they will deny the severance package to the former CEO, who still denies some of the claims made by the victims in that original New Yorker post back in September when he was originally let go.
And coming up after the break, we'll be back with some weather for you guys, what you need to wear to your finals to stay warm. So stay tuned.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the City of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new bike share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
And we're going to be starting with today's current weather in Lawrence. We're starting with 49 degrees and low of 28 today going into the night. It's a little bit mild cold winds, so we're going to be walking down to class. Eyes start watering a little bit. So that's totally okay, but you're going to want to stay covered. Just don't worry because the weathers might cool down to the 30s moving on to the next week, but sunsets around 5, it gets dark around finals, and then moving in with the 6 to 10 mile per hour winds, and the precipitation chance is very low, only 3% tonight. And so on tomorrow's weather, you can see that it's going to be 34, clear skies, the sun's going to be coming in and out throughout the week, and it's going to be slowly warming up. Maybe you'll notice it in finals week. So the times of cloud and sun, it's going to feel like 28, still a little bit chilly than what it actually is. And so it's going to be partly cloudy, drop down to 17 degrees at night, and it's going to feel colder than it is. It's going to get cold at night with the clear skies and having an overcast moving in. And so tomorrow's evening forecast, when you're coming home for your stop day eve, it's going to be just very cloudy and very chilly with mild winds, just like this morning. And for your 7-day forecast, you can see on today, we're starting with today, you can see it's going to be 48 moving into 32s with the 30, but it still moved back to picking up into warmer temperatures. That you can see on Sunday. Moving into Monday and Tuesday, the temperatures following to finals will be warmer for your before you make your trip all the way home. And what to expect for Christmas break? You'll have wonderful weather. It might not snow, but we don't know yet for sure. we could be possible to expect another blizzard depending on the temperatures we get in California if they receive hopefully rain, along with the Gulf of Mexico getting more tropical storms moving up the East Coast. And so any surprises coming for winter? Maybe a blizzard or maybe no snow at all. And maybe starting off the new year, it's going to be starting around 40 degrees. So we're going to toss it back to Keely and Malik for more information for your finals week.
Thank you, Sally.
Well, I have no information on finals week besides I pray to God I pass.
Yeah, we'll see. I have a big finance final.
On this pace, I may not be as enrolled as a student KU
Yeah, you
next
may not be
semester.
seeing us back here.
Hopefully.
Well, KU recently signed an agreement to have the Lawrence campus powered by almost 100% of wind energy by 2020. The agreement was signed with Westar Energy, and the KC Star reports that this agreement will lower the utility bills for the university by about 22%. According to the university, the Lawrence campus uses about 130 million kilowatt hours of electricity in a year.
Hopefully this will help us, with this budget cut crisis that they're undertaking, where they're cutting things that shouldn't be cut,
And our weather gal just told us, too, that this might make the steam whistle even louder.
Oh, we don't need that. Now time for Weekend Review. We start off with an amazing story involving a 7-year-old, that being Ryan, who spends his time reviewing toys on YouTube. And according to Forbes, the little guy brought in a staggering $22 million along with his 17 million YouTube subscribers. I can only wish for that many.
Yeah. Michael Venatti, Stormy Daniels' lawyer, who in recent months has been in the spotlight, said he would consider running for president. Well, not anymore. The lawyer says he will not run in 2020. This comes after domestic violence charges that Avenatti has vehemently denied.
But that may not be the case for Joe Biden. As in an interview, the former vice president said he knows he's a gaffe machine, but there's a big but. He believes he's the most qualified person to run for president in the United States. So it'll be interesting. Avenatti's out, but is Biden in?
We'll see. Maybe I should run
He's
for
ever
president.
so close. Oh, I don't know about that.
You'd vote for me.
I don't know.
In news we reported about here a few months ago about the engagement of rappers Cardi B and Offset, and then their eventual marriage, and following that, the birth of their child. Well, Cardi B informed her fans and the world via Instagram that the two are no longer together.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I think I told you so. When we saw that engagement video, I think I said, I don't know if that's genuine. I do remember that, and if you don't believe me, check the video because I know what I said.
Yeah, you're always right, Malik.
Alrighty, baby, it's cold outside. Oh, that would be perfect.
Controversial.
Oh, maybe. Baby, It's Cold Outside is facing some controversy this season. It has been removed from some radio stations because of inappropriate lyrics. Listeners have said the song is date rapey with the lyric, "What's in this drink?" So let's take a listen to this song and focus on the lyrics.
I'll hold your hands, they're just like ice.
My mother will start to worry.
Beautiful, what's your
My
hurry?
father will be pacing the floor.
Listen to the fireplace
So
roar.
really I'd better scurry.
Beautiful, please don't
Well,
hurry.
maybe just a half a drink more.
Put some records on while I
The
fall.
neighbors might
But
think,
baby, it's bad out there.
say, what's in this
No
drink?
cabs to be had out there.
I wish I knew how.
Your eyes are like stars
to
right now.
break.
I was reading about that the other day, and I mean, that's a classic song that I never really thought too much about the lyrics, just kind of sing it, but it is causing a lot of controversy.
I think I heard some discussion today. It's people were saying, society's changing, so things like that aren't appropriate anymore. I don't think that's the question. I think the question is maybe it was never appropriate and society allowed it to be appropriate. The society shouldn't, those lyrics, things like that should never be an appropriate thing to say. So maybe society finally adjusted correctly, but I don't think that those lyrics were ever appropriate. And I'm sorry that that's a classic song. I'm sorry you love it, but maybe that's not the best thing to add in a song lyric.
I did read, though, I don't think that this song was meant to sound like that. I read that the song was meant to be performed with his wife. So who really knows where this all rooted from and what he actually meant by it. But when you do go back and look at it, you think, oh, I was listening to the other day, my friends and I were sitting there, we were like, oh, wow, this does sound like something's a little off in this song.
Yeah, and you have to think, regardless of what you what you want it to look like, or what you want it to sound like, or what you want the interpretation to be, it's not really up to you. It's up to the people that are listening to you. We know that firsthand. What we report is one thing, but it's left up to the interpretation of our viewers. So you can't say, oh, it makes sense in my head. Well, it has to make sense to the people that you're showing it to in their heads.
Yep. All right, well, coming up after the break, we'll be back to talk a little bit about Kareem Hunt and the basketball game last night, so stay tuned.
When you shop local in the heart of the city, you support the people that make our community thrive. The money you spend here stays here, in this place we call our home. Lawrence, Kansas, where there's good old-fashioned hometown pride. Eat local, drink local, shop local.
And welcome back to Wake Up Call. Keelan McCormick, Malik Jackson, Sally Jabuk. We'll be back over here just in a little bit. NFL player Kareem Hunt was released by the Kansas City Chiefs after a video was released from TMZ of Hunt kicking and shoving a woman. Since then, Hunt has come out and admitted that he was in the wrong. Now, let's check out an interview of Hunt opening up about the incident.
Honestly, I just want to let the world know, how sorry I am for my actions, and, it's been a tough time for me, and I'm extremely embarrassed because of that video. I made a poor decision, and I'm willing to take full responsibility of any actions that come, from this point on.
I think obviously the circumstances around this are definitely wrong. I think the exact details of what happened is still in question, but the way that it was went about was absolutely wrong. It's good to see that he took the time to set that interview up, as Lisa Salter said at the beginning of that. He set that interview up himself, reaching out to ESPN to do the interview. And in the interview, not wanting to put blame on her, not saying she did something to trigger him, but simply saying what I did was wrong, the way I reacted was wrong, and I have to be better than that.
Yeah, it's good he stepped up and took responsibility. Kay, you played Wilford last night in Allen Fieldhouse, and the Jayhawks walked away with a dub. Final score of 72-47, and next up the Hawks will play New Mexico State on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. And I know Malik was working the game last night, so Malik, how was the energy in Allen last night?
I will first say it's not Wolford, it's Wofford.
Wofford.
And the energy, I was at the Stanford game, which the energy was a lot, better. It was a weekend game, plus there's a better opponent, and then the way that the game ended. But being in Allen Fieldhouse, the energy is always high, the energy is always lively, and it's always a fun place to be. But Tuesday night, Walford, it's not as exciting, but I can tell you, if you can stay here after finals, December 15th, I believe,
That's the 15th.
The Villanova game, I will be here.
That'll
my
be
director's
exciting.
saying Villanova in my ear, just the way I just said it. I think she'll be here. Will you be here?
Oh, of course.
You're
That's going to be a big
yeah,
game.
there we go. Weather Gal Sal, are you going to stay? Just give me a head nod. Weather
Yeah,
Gal
she's gonna
Sal
be
saying
here.
so. That is going to be an exciting event. We look forward to it, and I guarantee you the atmosphere in Allen Fieldhouse will be lively at that
Be
time.
electric, that's right.
Absolutely.
All right, after the break, we'll be back with some icon-bearing good news and your look at final weather, so stay tuned.
And welcome back to Wake Up Call. Keelan McCormick, Sally Jabuk, and of course me.
Now time for some good news. The commonly known heavy metal band Metallica has been donating to ensure that there's enough food in all the cities on their tour. They've donated thousands of dollars to different food banks while traveling on their worldwide tour, or worldwide tour. They've made a donation while in Utah that would provide 30,000 meals to those in need. Along with the food donations, the band also recently donated to help wildfire victims earlier this month. So we love seeing people use their platform to donate and help others. And with the Christmas season, it's time to put in our work.
Yeah, time to do our giving season, okay? And Sally, you got something to explain.
First, I think a giving season should be all year round.
I agree with that.
I think you
I
should
like
give
it.
every day. But along with that, depending on the temperatures, places like Colorado, Chicago, high wind places with moist temperatures around lakes that have enough humidity will lead to the possibility of the snow that I was explaining earlier. So you could, like Chicago, since it's high winds and around the Great Lakes, you can have a lot of the mixture of the humidity and it carries over, like specifically as of right now, the East Coast, falling up to Boston, all of those northern states are going to have a lot of high moisture and a lot of tropical storms incoming. So when those temperatures are able to finally have it cool enough around 32 degrees, I'd say around, so below freezing is definitely it, but sometimes when it drops down too cold, the past snow that we had, it's dry and it won't be too effective.
Well, I am hoping for a white Christmas over
Yeah,
there in
and I got
Chicago.
in my tie. Well, I don't know if they're snowflakes. But they look like snowflakes. So
Close enough.
We'll
Pretty
call
either
them
way.
snowflakes.
Well,
Snowflakes.
it has been a great year with you guys here at Wake Up Call. We've got a new edition that we love, and we will see you guys right back here next semester.
Absolutely.
Keely McCormick.
Sally Schbuck.
I'm Malik Jackson. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you right back here next semester. Bye-bye.
Thank you.